Dr. Rajagopal sir. Dr. Rajagopal sir, it's because of him that we are meeting here and we are having this discussion upon narcotics or RMI status and regarding palliative care. So he is better known as the father of palliative care in India, and he's a fatherly figure for many of the doctors involved in the palliative care in India as well as abroad. Currently, he is a director of WHO Collaborating Center at Trivandrum, and he is the founder of chairman of Palim India. His initiatives to remove regulatory barriers in availability of oral morphine for pain relief have contributed to simplification of narcotic regulations in 17 of India's 29 states. More recently, to the amendment of NDPS Act of India. His initiative has also contributed to the development of government policy on palliative care in the state of Kerala in 2008 and Government of India's National Palliative Care Strategy in 2012. The international organization Human Rights Watch honored him with Alison Deford Award in Los Angeles in 2014. 2017, a documentary film titled Hippocratic, 18 Experiments in Gently Shaking the World, based on Dr. Rajagopal's contributions to palliative care, was released in Australia. In 2018, Dr. Rajagopal was honored with Padma Shri, which is the third highest civilian award given annually from Republic of India. In 2022, he published his memoir, Walk with the Weary. We are all very privileged to listen to you, sir. I welcome you, sir, to this meeting, and over to you, sir.
Hello. Manu, good to have you in a session after a long time together. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I can see only 5 faces on the screen. One is Manu's. Thank you. Thank you for switching on the videos, please, everybody. I mean, this is my only chance of meeting you, many of you. Thank you. It's perfectly okay if your makeup is not perfect right at the moment. We will not take screenshots. Hey, Leanda, you are from Malaysia, Leanda?
Yes. No, sir. I'm from Indonesia. Nice to meet you.
Indonesia. Okay.
Sir.
I'm sorry that I mistaken. Leanda, I particularly want to apologize to you. About 85% of what I speak today will be specifically related to the law in India. The broad principles and the initial comments will be universal, but the law in Indonesia, I'm sure, will be very different. So maybe in the end, you can contribute by explaining what's the situation in Indonesia. By the way, friends, we are all in the Indonesia and India are in the same WHO region. That's 11 countries of Southeast Asia. So our sister country in Southeast Asian region. And everybody else, thank you for this privilege of speaking to you about a very important subject. Before I go on to my presentation, right at the moment, of the 25 participants here, or 24, how many have access to oral morphine wherever you are working? 1, 2, okay. You can put it on the chat also.
Sir, I think we have an option of poll, sir. Can I launch it now?
I thought you had, yeah, by all means, Raju, it'll be nice. Okay, you can do it, Raju. Oh, it's already there. Oh, excellent. Raju, I was not aware of recent advances. In between, for several months, you could not use the poll. Very
yes,
good.
Sir. Last week onwards, we can now.
Okay. 15. So does that mean that the other... Oh, 18. Okay. Just another half a dozen to go. So this is gratifying. Raju, be ready with another poll. Take away more oral morphine and put in methadone.
Okay, sir.
So here 83% of the, when 6 people are nota, do not have franchise rights. Maybe not a voting age yet. So can we assume that, Raju, that only 18 are active participants? So second poll, this is 83%, very good. Second poll, Raju, is methadone.
Okay, sir. Give me a second, sir. Meanwhile,
Sure,
you can
sure.
have.
Take a couple of minutes. Maybe some people do not know how to use the poll, Raju. Okay, by the time Raju gets ready with this, the 11% of participants, that is the 2 people who do not have access and the 1 person who doesn't know. Maybe we will work together. If it does it not there in your institution, please allow us to work with you to make sure that you get it. The procedures are fairly easy now, not like the olden days. And I see Lilith here. Lilith is from our facilitation team, joined at short notice. Lilith and his colleagues are there. I mean, colleagues spread out across the country to work with you to make opioids available. So by the time Raju gets ready with the question on...
Sir, it's ready, sir.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Yes, launching it now. So you can see a screen. You can choose the options. If you're not able to see the screen, there is an option called polls at the bottom line. If you're using the phone, just click on the 3 dots at the end. There will be an option called polls. You can click on it and just do the polls.
The 2 people who do not know, very most likely you do not have, because it is fairly new in the country, not very new, 5 years, but still, as these things go, 5 years is a short time. So how about Indonesia? Leander, do you have methadone?
Yes, sir. In Indonesia, we have methadone, but we don't use it as a pain management. We just use it for the addiction patients, sir.
Yeah. So, Leander, I'll towards the end of our discussion, I'll briefly touch upon methadone. So 20 people have responded now, and this is good. 25% have it. Excellent. Okay. So what I am going to do is to talk about very mundane things like the rules and laws and stocking and dispensing, not as exciting as clinical medicine like diagnosis and treatment, but nevertheless very important in the sense, because if you do not understand them, all of a sudden your hospital pharmacy will say, oh, we have run out of it, it is not available, etc., etc. And we should be ready to find out how and sort it out. Because I remember in 1990s, when we first had access to morphine, oral morphine, the hardest thing was the frequent stockouts. All of a sudden, it is out of stock. And people who have been saved from a sea of pain are now thrown back into the sea of pain. That's very painful. So we'll talk about the rules and where they are now. And Leander, any specific question that you have, particularly for you, because feeling guilty about talking only about Indian law, we'll see what we can do later. So I'll start by making these statements. Sorry, 1 second. That we all need to be clear about the principle of balance. Dr. Manu and I and everybody else understand that we have both responsibilities. We have a responsibility not only to provide access to opioids for people in pain, but also to make sure that inappropriate and non-medical use is avoided. Please think, in the government of India, one Department of Revenue, in this matter is supportive to us. They, over a quarter of a century, we have both worked with the department. The officials understand the importance of making pain treated. But there are several other departments, mostly concerned with the control, not with access. And all the departments are feeling, including Department of Home Affairs, is feeling, okay, let us put the tight control so that there will be no abuse, addiction. So we have to, if there is one major scandal, all of our work in 25 years would end up in nothing. So let us accept this dual responsibility, because once it's available, we need to be able to understand whether it is used, documented properly, and enough controls are there, so that when people like these come to us, we will be able to, at a very limited cost, cause this magic transformation. This was in less than 1 hour, and this was the man's first cup of tea in 3 weeks. This magic is what we want to do. No, I know quite well that every cancer pain will not be so magically treated. 1/4 of cancer pains can be at least relatively opioid resistant or morphine resistant. That's the reality that we have to live with. So we'll need other medicines and different combinations. Having said that, 75% of the people in cancer pain would have this kind of total relief. The numbers are huge, friends. I do not know the numbers for Indonesia, but I do know that only a minority of people needing opioids have access to it. In India, of the 70 lakhs of people in serious health-related suffering, less than 4%, tiny number, have access to pain relief. We are going to change that. But remember, even the most restrictive documents, like the single convention, by the way, it was the name of the person who chaired the commission. Single Convention of 1961 recognized the importance of pain relief. They said that medical use of narcotic drugs continue to be indispensable for the relief of pain and suffering, and that adequate provision must be made to ensure the availability of narcotic drugs for such purposes. Now remember, this term narcotic is not a very scientific term. A narcotic medicine, which is anything, literally it's anything that causes narcosis or sleep. Here, sleep induction is not the main purpose, so it's not a correct term. But in all our India's legal documents, that's the term that is used. So we might as well accept it. But unfortunately, particularly after the turn of the century, after the 2000, when in USA, there was very high pressure promotion of pain relief, spread of a false story by the industry that opioids cannot cause addiction. Those stories were spread. So the world is now afraid of addiction more than ever. And therefore, all the public health experts now, not all, the majority are asking for prevention of addiction, prevention of inappropriate use, non-medical use. And only a few of us are there. The weight shifts heavily to the other side. And this unfortunate loss of balance is a reality. Friends, do you see that map of the world? Leander, can you locate Indonesia in that map?
Yes, sir. Yes.
It'll be very tiny, like
Yes.
India.
Yeah.
See, friends, India is so emaciated. This is about distribution of morphine use for pain relief in all countries of the world. And the country size is adjusted according to that. As you can see, 3 countries are obese. Morbid obesity. USA, Canada, and Australia are obese, morbidly obese. Certainly, okay, even if you not that much in Australia, certainly in USA and Canada. Do you understand what I mean with this image? This is from the Lancet Commission report on access to pain relief, published in 2017, a landmark publication. Raju will be sharing with you the presentation. I would strongly recommend, the link is given here. The whole paper is free access. It's a too large a document. Busy oncologists are not going to get time to read it. But read just the executive summary, 5 pages. It will be very informative for us in Southeast Asian countries. So the morbid obesity of USA and Canada and Australia are related to non-medical and inappropriate use. And it all happened since 2000s. It's all the responsibility totally rests on industry and a few doctors who back them. Was that a question?
No, sir.
So what do? We don't want this emaciation. We don't want this obesity. What we should try to achieve is the balance. The balance between inappropriate use and adequate access. That balance has been achieved for half a century in UK and mostly in Western European countries. But did you notice something interesting? India is a low middle income country, right? Uganda is a low income country, poorer than India. See, the access to pain relief is at least 3 times more in Uganda. It is not a matter of cost. This is interesting. So much of rational use happens in Western European countries. We don't need a lot of money for this. Pain relief is low cost. Opioid access is low cost. So this is something that we together have to change. If people like me tomorrow, when I become your patient, if I am to get pain relief, I know that like people, the rest of the population of the country, I have 10% chance of getting cancer. And at my age, that's a much stronger possibility. So this is not about somebody else. This is about our loved ones and ourselves. So this is the gross mismatch that we are trying to correct. I'll stop there for a second to see if anybody has a clarification to seek regarding this image. You can either unmute and speak or put it upon the chat box. Raju, please monitor the chat box for me.
So Dr. Manu said.
Yes, Manu.
So there are no responses till now. I'm watching the chat box.
Okay. Thanks, Manu. Manu, you have any comment about what I've said so far? Or shall I move on?
No, sir, no comment. Please move on,
Okay,
sir.
thanks. So in India, one of the major handicaps was the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act of 1985. Till then, things were not good. But at least 600 kilograms of morphine was used in our large country. But with this law, see how, how huge the book is, showing how complicated the thing is. With this, from 600, over 13 years, it fell to 18 kilograms. From that time, from 1997, our work in all these years, 25 years, has brought it up only to about 500 kilograms. We still haven't reached the 1985 figures. That's where we are. So the law was changed in 2014. The relevant rules were published in 2015. But as would happen in many countries, law in a low and middle income country does not get implemented easily. Policies do not get implemented easily. Laws do not get implemented easily. The law covers the whole country. Every state is supposed to have the same rules now. By the way, do you know the difference between a law and a rule in India? A law is something passed by the parliament or an assembly. But a rule is an executive order. A rule describes how the law is to be implemented. The rules were created in 2015, but only in, well, Kerala more than anywhere else it has been implemented. Anyway, the whole the law was crafted based on the rules that were created in Kerala many years back in 1998. But Lalit Shalini heads that team of facilitation. Lalit, who is attending with us today to clarify any questions, is one of the facilitators. So in every stage, we are working with the National Health Mission. We are working with the drug controllers of the states, doing joint workshops to make sure that the implementation gets underway. I'm happy to say that there has been significant progress, especially in the last 2 years. Now, what did the new law mean? In the old law, what I was going through when I started palliative care in the 1990s, every state had a different rule. There was no uniformity. In Kerala, we needed a possession license. Every license includes multiple agencies. I have to go to excise, then to drug controller, then to director of health services, back to drug controller, then to excise in the capital, in my city. That's not only for possession license. If I get a license, that meant that my institution is allowed to hold so much of oral morphine. And then I had to get an import permit to bring it from another state. as if it was another country. That terminology dates back from the days of the British rule, when all Indian provinces were independent. And then I had to send it with the 2 licenses, an order to the manufacturer. At that time, it was in Ahmedabad. They had to get an export permit from their excise department. And then they could send the stuff to Kerala. In many states, like including Tamil Nadu, they also needed another transport permit if it was to travel from the capital city to another city. Our problem was, once after all this, we submitted the order, they did not have the morphine, it took some time. Then they sent it. And by the time it got to my city, my import permit had lost validity. I could not open the consignment. There were people in pain, crawling in pain around me. I simply had to send the consignment back to Ahmedabad. Then I had to procure a new permit. They had to procure a new permit, and then it had to be sent again. So as I said, multiple agencies were involved, and each license had short validity. In Kerala, at least we had 3 months validity for the import permit. In UP, I found that they had only 1 month validity. This was complicated rules, which now are invalid. From 2014, we have a common rule for the whole country. All the states have the same rules. States cannot enact their own rules anymore. So the rules created a new class of medicines called essential narcotic drugs. So whatever the Department of Revenue calls essential narcotic drugs come under this. And if so, you need only a single window, no longer excise. Just go to the state drug controller. No other office is involved. See, it becomes so much simpler. Go to the state drug controller. The application format and guidelines are fairly simple. We will share with you the forms. Apply. And the state drug controller, within 2 months, is bound to give you the RMI status, or if he is rejecting it, he has to show why. Manu, so you went through this format and you have an RMI approval?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we have.
So, see, Dr. Manu will explain later, if you like, how he went through the process. So we also in Trivandrum went through the same process, and we have an RMI approval. If we are called a recognized medical institution or RMI, that is valid for 3 years, and then we have to renew it by the same simple process. So this is the current rule. Most states have implemented it. I know that some states do not. And that's where we have to work together. These are the 3 essential narcotic drugs that are relevant to us. There are others mentioned in the law rules, they do not become relevant. Morphine, methadone, fentanyl are the 3 essential narcotic drugs which you can buy from the manufacturer if you have approval as an RMI. To stock and dispense them, any institution should be an RMI. Is that clear, friends? Ladies and gentlemen, is there any lack of clarity here?
Yes, sir, I had one doubt regarding that.
Yes, please.
Yes. So my name is Dr. Arun. I am working in Todupuzha. So my institution currently stocks, we are prescribing morphine. So does that mean that we have this RMI for methadone as well, or is there a separate license for each of them?
It is, I am almost sure that you must be having the RMI approval. The same thing. Because in some states, some people still follow the old rules and go through excise and get the license, which is actually illegal now. But in Kerala, I don't think that happens. So, Dr. Arun, I am fairly certain that your institution must already be an RMI. Dr. Arun, now what's your institution? Which institution?
I'm working in Karkinos Healthcare, sir. And I'm at the Todupuzha Chadikattu Hospital.
Okay. I'm sure Karkinos understands this and would have gone through this process, so I have no doubt.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now, one thing I want to add here, friends, is that the process is the same for morphine and fentanyl. Or whether, but strangely, so many institutions have fentanyl, which is not very good for initial titration of cancer pain. It's a second line medicine to be used after the patient is stabilized on morphine, when you know how much is the requirement. But strangely, everybody has fentanyl. And maybe you need to ask yourself why that happens. An automatic assumption that I would make is that it's the power of the pharmaceutical industry. I also know that 1 day of fentanyl costs 150 times more than 1 day of morphine, if you consider the average requirement. Not good for initial titration. 1/3 of patients will be okay, 1/3 will be too drowsy, 1/3 will not have adequate pain flow. Difficult to titrate and expensive. So rational scheme would be to stabilize the person on morphine and then switch over to the appropriate dose of fentanyl, which for some people may be 12.5 microgram patch, for some people 25, or for some people maybe 100 micrograms. If you have to be an RMI, this is the only requirement. One doctor with either MBBS or BDS, Leanda, BDS is Bachelor of Dental Surgery in the country, and dental surgeons are also authorized to hold it and dispense it. So that person should be named in charge of RMI. The thing is this, the rule is trying to protect us from what happened in the USA. In the USA, everybody was asked to prescribe morphine. There was no training. Nobody had any clue how to use it. So this training is essential, and after that training, you can apply. And in Kerala, during the COVID season 2020, the drug controller approved of online training. So a virtual training like what you are going through should be enough for your institution to get an RMI. I am specifically addressing the two people who do not have access to oral morphine. So those two people, when you get the presentation, please take a look at these forms that are given there in the first link. There are two forms that you will have to fill up. Okay, you can later explain the number of the form. I can never remember it. And also,
Sure thing, sir.
see this link. Again, it's only a 2-page document. Dr. Nandini Vallath, who is the head of Department of Palliative Medicine at St. John's Medical College in Bengaluru, she created this document. It's an excellent document, very important, very nice, practical guideline about procuring, not only procuring it, but also using it safely and effectively. Once approval is obtained, that is, you apply. One important thing, though you may think it is silly. Even if you are in Trivandrum, don't take it in person to the drugs controller and give it. All drugs controller's office is a heavily overloaded office. They have 10 times the capability. The 10 times the requirement than their capability. So we don't want a document to get lost. Always there should be documentation. Please send it by registered post and keep the receipt. Keep a copy. Start a file. Keep a hard copy, keep the electronic copy. And send it by registered post and keep the receipt for the registered post with you. If you haven't got it in 2 months, immediately send another registered letter saying that you applied on such and such a date. You are entitled to receiving the certificate within the reasonable time. Please expedite action. And also at that time, please inform us in Trivandrum. We will try our best to. Certainly in Kerala, it's very easy for us to talk to the drug controller's office. They are very, very supportive and cooperative. And in many states, people are very cooperative. And recently, Lalit's team, Shalini's team was talking to so many states. In Puducherry, the drugs controller was saying that though my name is drugs controller, my job is not to control, it's more to facilitate. Also to control, but more to facilitate. Kashmir, Punjab, Uttarakhand, these are all states where we worked with recently. And everywhere, the drugs controllers understand it now and they are supportive. They still may have doubts about the process in the beginning. That's where we will have to come in. And once the approval has come through, again, you look at the form to apply with it. The form for not apply, no, to submit the order. To place the order with the manufacturer, the relevant form is also given here. Fill up the form, simple form, 1 page. Fill up the form and submit the order. Unfortunately, friends, you will have to pay in advance for this. And the hospital makes the payment with a draft or something, sends the order, and they will send the consignment by registered parcel or by courier. Your job then is very important. Whoever is doing it for you, whether it's your pharmacist or somebody else, will have to make the appropriate entries and document it. We have the responsibility to ensure that documentation is done properly. I would request everyone, you're all busy oncologists, but every week, spend 15 minutes checking the register. That's very important. To get the approval as a recognized medical institution, you write a covering letter. Again, we have given the form on a certain format. There's no particular prescribed form, but we have given a draft on our website if you go to that link. So the forms are listed here. Form 3F and Form 3J. Only 1 page, about 5 or 8 or 10 lines each. The one thing that you will have to say is how much annual requirement you expect. If you are already an RMI, you check what was your requirement last time. Make an allowance of 20% more for any growth and submit it. It doesn't have to be accurate. If you are a new applicant, just put in 500 grams. Very empirical. It doesn't matter. Even if you use only 50, you will grow in the subsequent years. And if you are applying for 500 annual requirement, actually, according to the new rules, annual requirement, there's no quota. But even if you say 500 grams, if you want only a small quantity, order only 100 grams. Who is going to question you? Along with this, the doctor with training in pain management will have to give your medical MBBS certificate, certificate of registration with the medical council, and this certificate of training that you have gone through such and such a course. As I said, in Kerala, online is approved. And if you quote that, in most states, drug controllers will accept it. This is not in the rules, but we recommend that you send a self-addressed stamped envelope for 27 rupees. That will expedite the process. Otherwise, another 2 weeks delay will be there. One more thing that you should know is that all government hospitals are deemed to be recognized medical institutions. Whether it's a medical college or All India Institute of Medical Sciences or the humblest primary health family wellness center, any government institution, the corporation dispensary, anywhere, they already are deemed to be RMIs. They do not need trial approval. Having said that, they also must ensure all documentation and submit the annual data to the drugs controller. In Kerala, the drug controller insists that you only if you submit your proper formats to the controller, he will authorize it. And most manufacturers will send you the medicine only if they get some approval from the drugs controller. So if you already have it, things are very easy. Is the process clear, friends? Anyway, I'll have time for questions and answers. This may look intimidating. I've just given a photograph of a page in our stock register. This is how we do it. This is for any receipt. This shows that on the 11th of April 2019, from this manufacturer of this batch number, we got this batch of medicine with this date of manufacturer and this date of expiry. We received these 24,000 tablets. And I would recommend a separate register for 10 milligram, 20 milligram, 50 milligram, etc. So every time it is dispensed, the pharmacist or whoever does it writes a serial number, just the order, writes the date of dispensation, name of the patient, the register number as in our registration desk, the quantity issued, and the closing balance left thereafter. This is our way of doing it. You don't have to do it this way. This means that there were 50 tablets already, and after giving 25, we have the 50 plus 30,000. That was the new batch received. So this is how each patient is received. Now, let me ask you a question. You give somebody 100 tablets of morphine to be used at home. The patient dies when only 25 tablets are used. What do you think they should do with the rest of the 75 tablets? In Western countries, the family is asked to flush it down the toilet to get rid of it. I don't know what happens in Indonesia, but in India, I'll tell you what the rules are. Not a high-income country. We don't want to waste anything. The families are requested to return it to you. And if they return a consignment, you receive it just like you are receiving it from a company. You write here received from so and so many tablets and enter it in stock. The law requires you to have 2 copies of the prescription. For us, one prescription, of course, we send with the patient. The other is what we have written in the case file. So we always write the medicines both in our file and the patient's prescription to be taken home. Any questions or comments, friends?
Yes, sir. Dr. Sherry and Dr. Amit has returned back the
Yeah,
morphine.
very good. Very good. Excellent. Yeah, that is a very Indian rule. Leander, do you know what you're supposed to do in Indonesia?
Yes, sir. It's similar with India. We also cannot just throw away the drug. So the family will return the drug to us, and we do the note how many drug that they give to us back.
Okay. Thanks, Leander. So very common sense plans for low and middle income countries.
So there is a comment from Dr. Ravi Kiran. He's written, sir, we don't have a return policy in our institution, and which is very grave.
Okay, I am only saying the rules. I know what they mean. I mean, like, it is a lot of botheration. And also, there may be other reasons, but maybe the problem is this. When they return it, it's much safer. Rather than allowing that to be out there in somewhere. I know that in India, many people at the time of cremation throw all the medicines into the funeral pyre. That's okay. So if the hospital doesn't want it, I would recommend Dr. Kiran that if somebody rings up and says, hey, what should I do with the morphine? Just say, flush it down the toilet. If the hospital is refusing to return, accept it back. But now let me ask you another question. What will you do if the expiry date is over and there are a lot of tablets left? You bought 10,000. Unfortunately, you went on leave. There was nobody to dispense morphine, to prescribe morphine. So you have 7,000 tablets left. Expiry date is approaching only 3 months or 6 months. So what you are supposed to do, you can write to the drug controller, ask for permission to transfer it to another RMI. Sometimes we get medicines like that. Somebody else buys it and the expiry date is approaching and only 4 months to go. So they get the permission of the drug controller, inform us so that we follow up and get the order and take the medicine to use. You can transfer to another institution with permission of the drugs controller. In Kerala, there are around 600 RMIs. In the whole country, we don't have the exact number because some states we do not get the numbers. But anyway, we believe that in the whole country, it is less than 1,000. So most of them happen to be in Kerala. Other South Indian states come next, like Tamil Nadu, then Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. But as we go north, number of institutions dispensing opioids become less and less. That is a sad state of affairs that we have to change. Now in Kerala, the access to oral morphine is 16 times the national average. But before you all swell with pride, let me bring you down to the reality. It is still only about 1 in 150 of what is considered optimal, as in UK. We don't want to talk about the abuse in USA. That must be many times more. But if generally UK is considered as the ideal, where the access, everybody who wants it needs it and has access, and abuse is more or less controlled. Zero abuse we cannot ensure, but reasonable control is there. So compared to that, even our Kerala with 16 times the national average still is abysmally bad. Now, I earlier asked about methadone. About 25% of all cancer patients will not respond adequately to morphine. I don't know whether this has been discussed already when we were discussing the pharmacology of morphine. If not, let me tell you. This doesn't mean that there will be no benefit at all. It means the pain may be only partially responsive to opioids. So, Dr. Manu, you must be very familiar with this. You give 10 milligrams of morphine 4 hourly. The patient say be little better, but the pain relief lasts only for about 2 hours after each dose. So Dr. Manu increases to 15 milligram, and the patient gets delirium or gets myoclonus. Neurotoxicity manifests as delirium. Myoclonus is jerky movements, involuntary jerky movements, and excessive drowsiness. So in India, for that 25% of patients, the ideal medicine is methadone. No special order needed. If you are an RMI, you can order it. But the problem is, it is not the pharmacokinetics and dynamics are not as simple and straightforward as morphine. You need a bit of expertise. I would strongly recommend that your institution should procure it. But when you want to use it, please call us. You know that Pallium India has a telehealth program which works every day from morning 9 to 4 p.m. every day. They are available. We are available. When you want to start more methadone, allow us to hold your hands. I personally, in our institution, have limited experience. My colleagues Sunil and Amrita and Arjun and all are much more experienced. Generally, when I am using it, I generally reach out to them. Say, I am planning to use this dose. Do you think it's okay? Because methadone has a much narrower margin of safety. Therefore, it will have to be introduced gradually and hiked gradually. If you start morphine at a certain dose, you don't know how much exactly the patient needs. So today, you have started it at 10 milligrams 4 hourly. When will you consider of reviewing it and increasing it? When is the best time? Anybody wants to answer that question? After you have started, it takes about 36 hours for the blood levels to stabilize. So if you have started it today in a patient without renal failure, the blood level will plateau by day after tomorrow. So if you are starting today, please get your nurse to make a phone call day after tomorrow and ask how they are. If ask for delirium, ask for unpleasant dreams, ask for myoclonic jerks. If they are there, the dose has to be reduced. If they say pain relief is there only for 2 hours, not for all the 4 hours, increase the dose. And if methadone morphine is not tolerated, consider changing over to methadone. Now, apart from this, making the medicine available, we need you all need to educate your colleagues if we are to maintain this balance. Public will have to be informed. Patients and families will have to be informed. You will have to give the learning package to nurses about what all to teach the patient. And the rules will have to be followed. And no one should be, whether it's a drug controller or the palliative care physician, no one should be pro-opioid or anti-opioid totally. Pro-patients and anti-suffering. Remember, abuse and addiction is also suffering. We accept the dual responsibility. Everyone here is a champion in your own institution, busy oncologists, taking time out to learn palliative care. I fold my hands to your compassion. I know that oncologists in our country are hard pressed for time. Dr. Chris Booth had published a paper comparing the number of patients seen by one patient in RCC Trivandrum and one patient in his institute. People here were seeing about 15 to 18 times the number of patients. So you are so very busy, but still you are doing this, spending this time learning this to relieve people's pain. Thank you. If Dr. Kiran believes that, okay, I am in Thodupuzha, it's only a small place, I'll remember the big Padda skirts. Where it's darkest, the light will make the most difference. Best wishes, ladies and gentlemen. Best wishes for your integration of palliative care into your oncology practice. And I repeat, please allow us to hold your hands in matters of pain relief management and palliative care. We are here to help. Raju, will you put up the telehealth number on the chat box?
Yes,
if not already done?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
So we have two questions in the chat box.
Okay.
One was by Dr. Ravi Kiran. He has asked, within how many months we need to return the morphine and patches to the drug controller? That is one first question.
No, I'll first take that question, otherwise I'll focus.
Okay.
Dr. Kiran, you cannot return to the drug controller. He will not accept it. You will have to give it to another institution after getting the drug controller's permission. So suppose you are starting the process only 2 months earlier. By the time you get the permission, and even if you give it to me, I will not have the time to use it. So I recommend that at least 6 months before the expiry date, you see how much extra are you likely to have. What has been the consumption in the last month? How much are you likely to consume? And so start the process. Best to start the process 6 months back. Thank you. Second question.
Then he also asked, can you share the format of transfer of opioids to other RMI? Sir, is there any format as such for that?
No,
Or we
Dr. Kiran, is a question from Dr. Kiran, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. Kiran, if you are in charge of your RMI, if you are the medical officer in charge of your RMI, you just write a letter, register letter to the drug controller that our drugs are expiring on such and such a day. We are likely to have a surplus of so many thousands of tablets. Such and such another RMI, always willing to accept free medicine supplies. Valim India or whoever, maybe another RMI is willing to accept it. Please permit us to transfer it to them. And better inform that institution. So when I get something like that, what I do immediately to write to the drug controller, yes, this is correct. We are happy to receive it. Then he will issue an order. Okay, go ahead. Then you will have to send it by registered parcel.
So there is another question from Dr. Sherry Abraham. So what are the requirements for prescribing morphine?
Dr. Sherry, only one requirement is that it should be a prescription in duplicate, which only means that in addition to the prescription that you give to the patient, there should be a document in your own clinic. You must be having a case sheet for every patient. So you write there also, morphine, 15 milligram, 4 hourly. Okay, waking up 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m. bedtime. That's what we write. And you in the bracket say, okay, 120 tablets, something like that. And the pharmacy will issue that. You also keep the stock register. That's all that's needed. The patient has a copy. You have your case sheet or a copy of the prescription itself filed something, and your register also holds it. Nothing else.
So can I ask a question, sir?
Yes, please.
Yeah, because many times the morphine, it comes to the post office, and is the doctor, specified doctor, supposed to go and collect it, or can the
No. Manu, for us, it comes by courier. I know the rules say registered post parcel, but Lissy Hospital Pharmaceuticals sends it by courier. So it comes to us. I mean, even if somebody asks me to go and collect it, I will say, no. It's your responsibility to bring it to me. And remember, the home visit programs are allowed to keep it. We have 6 teams going out on home visits every day. So every morning, the nurse or the doctor who is leading that team, they will be taking a supply with them. And at the end of the day, they will bring back the remaining tablets and hand it back to the pharmacy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Any more questions? We're waiting for questions.
Leanda, any comments from Indonesia?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the very excellent lecture, sir, like always. So I'm Lianda, I'm pediatrician from Indonesia. My working field is in pediatric oncology who need for palliative care. In Indonesia, we only have one center serve community-based palliative care as my place of work in Rachel House, sir. So just few years back then, finally our government approved the use for morphine in pain management. So the access for the opioid honestly must be under 4%, and not all the health providers are comfortable to use the morphine here, because for general GP, sir, in medical training never had lesson about opioid, so the GP cannot prescribe opioid in Indonesia. Just doctors specialized like me, maybe PITS onco and anesthesiology and also internists can prescribe it and have to do the good documented, sir. We don't have special training for approval as RMI that you mentioned later on.
Yeah.
It's been an honor for me, sir, to follow your lecture today, to learn about the long process, all the struggle, the need to be gone through to get the approval from the government for using the opioid, so it can be widely implemented in India. One of my dreams, sir, in the future, Indonesia can also have access for opioid and also for methadone. Thank you, sir, for very valuable lecture today.
Leanda, you are a busy pediatrician. I know time will be limited, but all of us have a responsibility to be advocates. If you don't do it, there may be nobody to do it in your country. And our WHO collaborating center is for the Southeast Asian region. So we have an official connection to work together with Indonesia. If there's anything we can help, please let us know. The training programs must be started, and being morphine prescription being limited to specialists It's unjustifiable. How can, in a country like Indonesia or India, people travel far away to get a specialist to prescribe? That is not realistic. So those things will have to change. Very happy to work with you. The collaborations have succeeded in other countries, and anything we can do in Indonesia will be most welcome. Lilith has put up his email ID and phone number on the chat box. Anybody, please make a note of that, so that when you copy paste it on your laptop or phone, so that when you have questions, you will be able to find somebody to ask. Of course, telehealth also you can call.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leander.
Sir, one doubt.
Anji.
Sir,
Who is
sir,
this?
I am Sunish, sir. I am from MOC Koranjeri.
Oh, Sunish. Okay.
Sir, if a doctor who is, if there is a malpractice found with the stocks and all, will the doctor who is responsible for the stock of the medicine will be held by any legal?
Doctor, your institution, even without the oral morphine, was having morphine and pethidine, etc. Injection.
Yes,
In
yes, sir.
the operation theater, the hospital has it.
Yes, sir.
So imagine, injection is so many times more amenable to abuse. Injection can cause the kick and tends to cause addiction. So if there is a malpractice, who will be at fault? The medical superintendent also will be responsible. The pharmacist will be responsible primarily. They will be answerable. The medical superintendent will be answerable. Similarly, the same thing.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Which is why I am recommending that, especially with this, you must check your pharmacy. Anyway, in the register, a doctor is supposed to countersign. Periodically, I countersign. I don't countersign it every day. But periodically, I check the register and countersign. That's good for the institution. So your liability will be exactly the same as a medical superintendent whose institution holds opioids.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Raju is going to be very angry with us. We have exceeded time by
No,
8
sir.
minutes.
It's there till 8:15, sir.
Okay. So thank you. 7 minutes more if you have any question.
Sir, is Lalit going to go through the forms for us?
Lilith, do you want to show the
Yeah,
forms?
maybe I can.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure.
I was about to suggest that if 7 minutes are left, somebody could sing a nice song. But the forms are to be shown.
So is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is visible.
Yes.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. These are the list of forms that are bifurcated into.
That is intimidating.
Sir?
All the for application as an RMI, you need only 2 forms, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Show
Yeah,
them. Will you
yes.
show them?
So this is one of the major. This is the form.
No. That's a certificate of recognition to be sent by drug controller. Let the drug controller worry about it. This is it. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So name and postal address, name of head of institution, number of persons employed, put in anything. Number of patients seen during the previous calendar year. Who is going to bother if it is perfectly accurate or not? If there is no home care, just say 0. Category of RMI, whether it's for palliative care, opioid substitution therapy, whatever it is. For us, it will be palliative care. The name of the doctor, you, who is trained. If there are 3 of you trained, there also. But who one person is to be in charge? Number and date of certificate of issue. If a new applicant, just for column 7, just say new applicant. If not, last date. 8, of course, is no. Finished. That's all. One more form, Lalit, to be submitted.
So
That
annual
is the
requirement.
annual requirement. 3.
Consignment.
No, that's the consignment note. Appendix.
3.
No. Just scroll through one by one. This is what we saw earlier. No. Wait. In everyone, let us see the title. Last one we missed. No. But there is another form to which it to be signed by the head of the institution.
So 3J.
What is that? Estimate of annual requirement of essential narcotic drugs. Again, name, etc. Name of the medicine. So you may have to write morphine. You may have to write methadone. You may have to write fentanyl all separately. And estimated annual requirement you write. If it's a new one, the second column we'll have to just say new. If not annual requirement, as I said, if you know that you have used 2 kilograms last year, ask for 2.4 kilograms and 20% or something. If that is not enough, you can always ask for more. There's no problem. And if you are a new institution, I just make something empirically. I suggest start with 500 grams. If halfway through the year, your requirement increases and you have to submit a new requirement, that also you can put in there as in the 5th column. And the reason for revision will be number of patients increased. And the signature of the will have to be the overall institution in charge. That's the medical superintendent or whoever that is, department head or somebody. But as I said, if you have doubts, just call us. Raju is willing to give us 1 more minute. That's for the chairman's comments. Manu.
So thank you so much for the excellent talk, and it's a privilege to attend your session again. And I think everyone got the basics of RMI, how to do it, and the forms we are seeing now. And we have got very useful numbers, also contact information for further proceedings. So thank you all for attending this session. Thank you, sir, once again. Can we wind up this session? Over to you.